I'm Peter Vaughan, and today I'm at Wokingham Motorhomes, Britain's longest established Rapido dealer, to test Rapido's latest new motorhome, this A-Class C86i. In fact, Rapido launched two new C-Series A-Classes at the Düsseldorf show last September, and this is one of the very first in the country. The C-Series was in fact launched a couple of years ago as a low-profile range, Rapido's entry-level and narrower bodied. But these are the new A-Classes, two additions to the range, the C55i with single beds at the back and this C86i with an island bed. So what's so special about these? Well, two things really. One, they're narrower, just 2.17 metres wide, compared with the usual sort of typical A-Class width of around 2.35 metres, and also being more compact, they are properly available on a 3.5 tonne chassis. So what do I mean by properly available on a 3.5 tonne chassis? Well, this one has a payload in standard form of 531 kilos, so it's realistic to have this as a 3.5 tonne van, so you can drive it on a standard car licence. That could be important for younger drivers that haven't got the C1 category on their licence, and also older drivers who are worried about renewing that C1 at the age of 70. What else can I tell you? Well, immediately you can see that this isn't a huge A-Class motorhome. Not only is it quite narrow, but it's 6.99 metres long, so not especially long, and 2.75 metres high. And for an A-Class motorhome in 2023, it has a reasonably compact price, £83,800, and that includes the GB pack, which adds quite a lot of extra kit for the UK market. In fact, Traction Plus with hill descent control, front fog lights, the radio controls on the steering wheel, the double lens mirrors, a leather steering wheel, cab and living area carpets, an oven, the upgraded Combi 6 heating, the second leisure battery, a heated wastewater tank, outside hot and cold shower, and rear steadies. All those are included on all UK right-hand drive vehicles. Now this one has a few options, but not a massive list as you get on some of the German vans we've tested recently. The key thing is the Select pack, which is £1,730. And that gives you a reversing camera with night vision, a DAB Pioneer multimedia system with a 6.8-inch screen, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And then there's ESC, ASR, rollover mitigation, hill holder, crosswind assist, towing stability control and automatic post-collision braking. Electric heated mirrors, height adjustable cab seats, pleated blinds in the cab, living area door with 2-point locking and a fixed window, living area door fly screen. So that's the Select pack, and then on top of that, this one has the alloy wheels. They're £740, and an upgrade for the upholstery to the Milan sort of faux leather upholstery. That's £320, and then Wokingham Motorhomes have added a couple of dealer fit accessories: the awning at £1,495 and the bike rack at £545. And if my maths is right, that gives us a total of just over 88 grand. Well, not many A-Classes these days seem to be under 100 grand. So that's a good start, isn't it? So let's take a look at what you get for your 88 grand. Well, for a start, it's a smart looking van, isn't it? It looks very much contemporary, bang up to date with this very automotive multi-hold grille and lots of lights around the front. These row of 5 LEDs for the daytime running lights on either side. Matte black, not just for the grille, but all for all the Rapido badging, and it's all 3D badging rather than graphics, so that gives an upmarket feel too. Habitation door on the off side, of course, like most Continental A-Classes. Just inside the cab door, you've got the usual release for your bonnet. And sadly, the usual A-class letterbox-like opening. Don't think I want to be adding anything or doing any maintenance under there. But that is typical A-class. You've got nice framed habitation windows, so this doesn't look in any way like a budget van. Your gas locker, that takes one 13 kilo cylinder because, as we'll see later on, the heating is diesel powered, so you shouldn't need too much gas. Then you've got your toilet servicing hatch, your fresh water filler, that's 120 litres inboard underneath the end of the island bed. And then at the back, the garage. So the garage has this practical non-slip flooring, LED strip light above me, 3 tie-down hooks along each side, and it can take up to 150 kilos. Width is pretty damn near a metre or 3'3", and headroom 870 millimetres or 34 inches. But there's also a bit of a nifty trick. Just press this button and up goes the bed. And now you have a much more bicycle friendly internal headroom of 1.07 metres or 42 inches. Both garage doors have clips to hold them open so they don't flap about on a breezy day and bash you on the backside. And then you've got this external shower that I mentioned to hose off your muddy boots or your muddy dog. And, well, what you don't get is a spare wheel. You just get this fix and go kit. So with all that payload, you might want to stick a spare wheel in here. And then forward of the garage door is your waste emptying point. Nice large bore outlet. The tank, as I said, is heated and insulated, and it's 90 litres. And you just twist that handle to let out your waste. Then looking down the off side of the vehicle, I like the way the two-lay awning is actually mounted on the top of the vehicle rather than on the side, so it doesn't add to the width. And that's important, obviously, on a narrow-bodied vehicle. Habitation door, of course, on the off side with an auto-retracting step when you start the ignition. The door itself has a fly screen, and like the cab door, it's linked to Fiat's central locking system. And then finally, at the front here, you've got a little storage bin, and that is where your mains hookup is. It goes up through the floor, so you haven't got one of those little flaps on the side of the van, and of course, better for insulation as well. So on the outside, this C86i is everything that you'd expect of an A-Class Rapido. What about inside? Well, unlike the C55i, which goes for a more traditional continental sort of L-shape half dinette arrangement, this C86i with the island bed goes for a very en vogue parallel sofa lounge. So nice and open plan at the front seats, the captain's chairs in the cab spin round nice and easily, and they will go round the full 180 degrees so that you can put your feet up on the sofas. If you have a telly, it goes on the wall by the door or on the side of the fridge, and it's not too high up, so that's quite a positive as well. Now, these sofas aren't the longest, but it does, as I say, give quite a spacious feel to the front of the lounge. Bear in mind, this is just a 7-metre motorhome. And then the table, well, it spins round and twists in every possible direction. But the key thing is, when it's folded in half, it doesn't take up too much space. It doesn't feel too obtrusive. And then if there are 4 of you to dine, or if you've got a bit of a banquet on, well, it unfolds to a really good size. It's worth noting that the cab seats, well, the cab floor is a little bit higher, and sitting in these side sofas, well, they are a bit high off the floor if you don't have long legs. So my preference, I think, most of the time would be to sit in the cab chairs, which are nicely shaped. They've got a twin armrests, of course, and, well, there's no reason, if there's only two of you, why you couldn't both dine from these cab chairs. And then you've got rear speakers in the base of the drop-down bed above me. You've got lots of lighting, lots of downlighters. You've got a big wind-up Hecky sunroof, not the cheaper push-up type, which I always think shows a bit of a penny-pinching attitude. If they just put the push-up type, well, why? Surely the wind-up one is the one you want in a premium motorhome. Side windows have got these net curtains and the drapes as well. And then the reading lights for those settees are these nice units that have USBs built in as well. So it's not the biggest of lounges, but it does feel nice and light. This pale upholstery, of course, helps, and lots of daylight coming in around the A-Class cab with the big windscreen, deep side windows. You've got the Hecky, of course, above, so daylight coming in there, even the deep window in the habitation door. What you haven't got is much storage up front, because under the near side seat is your combi boiler, and under your off side you've got the twin leisure batteries. Great to have two leisure batteries, 92 amp hours each. Give you a bit more backup when you're camping off grid. Up here you've got your main control panel and also the Truma control panel. Now the Truma heating, as I say, is diesel and electric, so diesel and mains electric. 6 kilowatt, the more powerful combi unit as well. And then moving back through, because you've got this sort of open feel, the kitchen is very much part of your lounge dining area as well. So practical space, plenty of floor space here. And if you're the cook, you're not out of things, you're very much part of talking to whoever's in the lounge. Now you have only got a 2-burner hob for cooking on, but over here above the fridge, you've got a small oven. Now it is only quite small and it is just an oven, there's no grill function, but it's, although it's above the fridge, it's not way up in the sky as some of them are. It is quite a practical height, I don't mind that at all. And then the fridge, that's a compressor unit, so switch on and forget, it's just 12 volt power, 154 litres capacity, so it's a really, really good size. And it has a quiet mode for nighttime as well. Over on the other side, of course, you've got your sink as well as your hob, reasonable amount of worktop, and then you can add to that with this slot-in worktop that just drops in at the side of the hob there, so that's practical extra space. And then your drawers, well, they lock centrally with a switch. You've got a large cutlery and utensil drawer, and then a really, really deep drawer underneath that for all your plates and pots and pans and so on. Alongside is a cupboard rather than a drawer, but you've got more space in these top lockers which just push to open. So plenty of cupboard space in the kitchen area, and even these neat little recesses for odds and ends. A single main socket there and one 12 volt as well. So really the only downside of the kitchen is the fact you get a 2-burner hob rather than the 3 rings that you might expect. And then moving back through, it's still a flat floor from the lounge through the kitchen into the washroom area, and the toilet door shuts off the back of the van to make it private, just as you'd expect in a larger island bed layout. And just as you'd expect in a bigger Rapido, you've got a toilet area on one side and then the shower on the other. The toilet door has a large mirror on it, and you can even lock it either in the open position, shutting off the back of the motorhome, or just to give you privacy in the toilet area itself, which is very practically usable with that door closed. Unlike some of them, always try sitting on the loo and seeing what shoulder and leg room there is, because it's decent enough in this one. Well, they're not all like that. What else can I tell you? Well, you've got a large cupboard underneath the basin, this rather stylish square basin with a pop-up outlet and a really nice quality tap. But the thing that really makes this washroom stand out is the storage and this clever mirror arrangement where you can fold the mirrors in at either end and then the whole panel slides back and forth. But that's not the really interesting bit, because here everything is held in place with straps. So if you've gone down a bit of a wobbly road, it doesn't all fall out when you get to your campsite. Over on the other side of the van, of course, you've got the shower. And although there is some wheel arch intrusion, it really doesn't matter because of the way you'll stand in here. The shower head is on a riser bar, and you've got a neat little basket for your shampoo, conditioner, and all that sort of stuff. And then above my head, you've got a pull-down drying rail for your towel or any wet clothes. So a really good little shower. Well, not so little actually, a decent sized shower. The only downside, just one outlet in the shower tray. So both the toilet and shower areas are a decent size and well thought out. And you can have the whole thing as a private ensuite, because not only does the toilet door shut off things from the front of the van, but then you've got this sliding door with a folding panel to close off the ensuite from the bedroom. Now, with that sliding door closed, there's just enough room to get around the foot of the bed. But that's with the bed pushed back in its chaise longue position. Here, well, you can see I can get through quite easily, even with the duvet in place. But when you pull the bed down into its nighttime position, well, even somebody as sylph-like as myself will struggle to get round between the end of the bed and the door. Things are better when you slide the door back, and now it's easier to negotiate the steps at the side of the bed. Still a little bit tight, but that's the price you pay for this length of bed. It's 1.93 metres or 6'4". So a good length of bed. Not as wide as some, 1.35 metres wide or 4'5". This bedroom really comes into its own when the bed is in its chaise longue position. Now you can sit up comfortably. You've got reading lights on either side, both with USBs built in, and you've got rear speakers back here as well. If you want a telly, you can mount that on the wall at the foot of the bed on the off side here. Opening windows on either side, roof light above, so plenty of ventilation. You've got these super-sized bedside tables because they go right under the wardrobes, and a 12-volt socket mounted on this side as well, although there's nothing for whoever sleeps the other side. It's a great place to sit back and relax. Got wardrobes on either side as well, of course. But what you really need is a lock, because I can feel this bed gradually sliding forward and going into bed mode, nighttime mode. I think it thinks I'm tired and need to have a rest. It's also worth noting that although the bed can go up and down, it is completely sealed off from the garage area with those sort of timber style panels at the side. So if you've got petrol cans or a motorbike or something stored under there, it won't or it shouldn't be smelly in your bedroom. Also, under the foot of the bed is a bit of extra storage and access to your fresh water tank. This being an A-Class, of course, one of the key advantages over the low-profile models in the C-Series range is the drop-down bed in the cab. And it's the usual A-Class system. Cab seats facing forward and tipped forward. They're out of the way. And then just this central release panel. Down comes the bed. Manual, but very easy to use. Privacy curtain goes all the way around. You do need a ladder. Like the island bed at the back, it's a Bultex mattress on a slatted frame. But the bed, because this is a narrower A-Class, the bed is slightly shorter. It's under 6 foot long. It's 5'11" or 1.8 metres long. But it is actually slightly wider than the island bed at the back at 1.39 metres or 4'7". So a decent bed. Headroom is pretty much the same all the way up to the front, so it's not like some over-cab coach builts where you've got that really decreasing headroom towards the front of the vehicle. You've got the much needed roof light directly above if you're camping in hot weather, and you've got a single reading light above. Maximum weight for the drop-down bed is 200 kilos. And then, of course, because you've got 4 berths, you need 4 travel seats, and the lounge converts to provide those. So the offside seat first, and you'll notice that if you travel with the lounge in lounge position, the backrests are held with magnets so they don't fly off onto the floor. Now, these 2 smaller cushions aren't needed in travel mode, so we'll just get rid of those. The little flap at the front, that just folds away. Now, cleverly, this armrest becomes your headrest. So that just lifts off. The backrest hinges up, and then the seat cushions, or the 2 big ones, just simply slot back into place. Doesn't take long to do, simpler than a lot of these conversions. The only thing is you've not got a great deal of legroom. And then similar system on the other side. Again, remove the 2 smaller cushions. See, for once you haven't got hundreds of cushions left over. These neat little flaps just go up to the side. Twist the base cushions and the backrest around, and this time we're coming back with the headrest, and the headrest just slots into place. Again, not masses of legroom, but it's adequate, and you've got decent view because you sit slightly offset of the cab seats and look down to the side. So let's go for a drive. And the first thing you notice, well, obviously it's the manual gearbox version, 140 bhp, the standard engine. The second thing you notice is the handbrake access down at the right-hand side here. Because you've got this cupboard unit alongside, it's actually quite awkward, especially if you have the armrest down. Better with the armrest up, but still tight, especially if you've got big hands. And then, well, you do notice on the road that this is a narrower vehicle. It feels a lot more manoeuvrable, a lot more just easy to drive on narrow roads than your typical A-Class motorhome. That 18 centimetres or so really does make a difference. Now, the other thing on any A-Class, always look at the windscreen wipers. And look at these. You've got the washer jets on the wiper arms, which is always good. You've got triple wipers, another bonus, but look at the amount of screen they cover. I can't think of the last time I drove an A-Class motorhome where the windscreen wipers did that good a job. Some of them, frankly, are pretty dreadful, but these are really good. So, well done to Rapido on that score. Performance from the 140 bhp engine, well, we've just been out on a bit of de-restricted road and it's fine. It actually feels reasonably lively. I was quite surprised. Having just tested a 140 bhp automatic camper van, which felt a little bit lethargic. I suppose because you've got the manual gearbox, you're able to row it along a bit more and it feels perfectly adequate. And obviously we're very lightly laden, so if you were loaded up to the full 3.5 tons, but I think it would still be adequate. Of course, you can upgrade to the 180 horsepower engine if you want, and the automatic gearbox, both quite expensive options. Other than that, well, it does seem to drive and handle really well. It does feel like a compact motorhome. Rattles? Yep, there are rattles. It's not as bad as some A-classes that we've driven recently, even much more expensive A-classes, but it still could be better. Driving position is good, typical Fiat. You've got all the kit on this one with the select pack. You've got the 9-inch display for your DAB radio, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all that sort of thing. And you've got your phone holder up above as well. In fact, you've got the controls for Bluetooth and for cruise control on your steering wheel, nice leather steering wheel, air conditioning, hill holder, all the toys that you'd expect on what's a reasonably premium motorhome. And another thing to note, of course, and again helping you with the ease of driving, are the big bus-type mirrors with the double lenses. Having the smaller wide-angle lens at the bottom really does make a difference. So all in all, a very easy vehicle to drive, especially for an A-Class. So, final verdict time on this C86i. Well, it may be a smaller, lighter Rapido, but it doesn't feel any less of a Rapido. And the narrower body will be a reason to buy for many people because it does feel so much more manageable on certain roads. And the weight will be an even bigger reason for other people because, well, you can realistically use this as a 3.5 ton motorhome, even potentially with 4 people. It's better as a 2-berth, as most vans of this ilk are, but you can realistically use it as a 4-berth with that drop-down bed and the extra travel seats. What don't I like? Well, that access around the rear bed and the fact that the bed won't stay up in the chaise longue position, well, that would be easy to solve, possibly even as a DIY modification. Other than that, well, the quality, the design is all very, very pleasing, very contemporary. Yeah, this is an A-Class motorhome where the price hasn't yet gone completely stratospheric and the size is a real boon. Thanks for watching, and of course remember that all our videos are brought to you by magazine, Britain's best-selling and longest established motorhome magazine, on the market for well over 50 years. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.